Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and it is Friday, August the 17th, 2018. And I'm with my gal pals. Wow, it's actually been almost 2 weeks since we've hung out, I think, on camera and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we've only met once or twice, just to say, hey, what's up for a sec. But so thanks for coming out.
Yes.
Lisa's hanging out in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
So, BZ came with the topic this evening, and I really like this one.
Yes, ma'am.
And I kind of sort of took over the name. I hope you don't mind. Shine the light or a lights out, baby. You choose. So let's talk about this because I tell you, I feel more alive in this moment than I think I have ever. And I'm, the oldest I've ever been in this moment now.
Imagine that.
But I feel really good. So, hey, I got that going for me.
Which is nice.
Yeah, which is nice. And so let's talk about this because I think there's a lot to this, and I feel a really cool conversation coming on. So what do you mean, BZ? What did you mean when you brought the topic up?
We've talked about, and I know pretty much everybody's noticed that when we clicked over from the end of July into August, excuse me, we have to move the electrical cord so that the dog can get doggy. Sorry. Go ahead. Go. And then with the trinity of the eclipses and the Lion's Gate, we've jumped even further. So a lot of people are noticing that time is going even faster, or they're in no time most of the time. And what's actually happened with, and this is kind of putting linear places on it, so it's not quite accurate, but between where we are in our trajectory in the actual moving through space and the influx of energies that are coming in through each of us and then out and being emitted out, and reaching critical mass at certain areas of expansion, having to do with polarization, people being polarized, service to others, all those. There's a combination of those various things. And this, at the end of this last one of the trinity of the eclipses and the Lion's Gate, we've jumped yet again into another level, another expansion, another vortex. And so that's we, the planet, and every being on the planet. And we had talked about this a while ago, how we have gone to being our own, each being is their own self-sustaining, as far as energy. There is no more of, vampiristic energy draining and that kind of thing. And so this kind of is, again, it's just a linear placeholder, but this shift has put, you could say on the one hand, put a cap on that self-sustainingness, or not looking outside of ourselves for that, or it's come into its final phase of self-sustainingness, in that the merge of the our imploding bodies coming into us, so the higher selves and all of the soul residing in, completely hooking up with, being integrated into the mechanics of your body, and the body's changing. So the body is no longer the human body that you were born with. And because everything is already being reworked. Is it a completion yet? Well, that depends on which human body and how they've been moving through and the work they've been doing and integration, all that kind of stuff. But there are certain things that still, you know, as always, there's different rates and levels that people go on. But there are also things that are, they're wholesale shifts, might be a good way to put it. So if you haven't jumped off the planet, this is one of those wholesale shifts where the energies are such that the completion of the self-sustaining is now kicking in. So what that means is if you're not, are not doing the integration and of your soul into all of the parts and parcel of you, then you're not able to sustain yourself, because in the more fullness of the self-sustaining, you can still eat, you know, food, but that's not how you get your whole your true sustainability. That's not your true connection. That's not your true energy source anymore.
Right.
So what is the light and the plasma frequency energies from that integration, from that merge of your soul into all of the reconfiguring, revamping, reorganizing, basically the genesis of your being, your physical vessel being, the body that is this amazing thing that's our vessel for, and because and it's also a combination of your light body, your Merkaba is completely engaging and turning on. So a simple way to say it is, if you're not committed in doing the connection and the work and the integration, so opening the heart, very simple, and having an integration, you are in essence starving. No air, no food, no water, that kind of stuff. Because you're cutting off, you're putting a kink in the hose, you're on limited rations. I mean, I say different ways because there are different levels of it depending on what people are doing.
Right. You mean for where they are in their multidimensionality portion of them, I guess. Yeah, I get that. Okay.
Yeah. And we haven't had there's a flip side of this conversation, which is another conversation, which is that when you do that integration and when your ego mind is come to 0 point and basically dematerializing, and your higher mind is now aligned with you, then the need to die ceases. Because the reason that there was that need to die was because, well, for a couple of things, but from tinkering that was going on with the beings that were the original organic humans, and because of the maturity of the DNA, the two-strand DNA structures that were allowed to be active. So everything that wasn't the junk DNA, those that were allowed to be active, when they reach their maturation rate, if there was not integration and alignment with the soul in that to override that limited, truncated programming, these are linear words to describe this, then that caused what we describe as aging, which everybody thinks is natural, and everybody ages, and that's the way it is, and you couldn't be further from the truth. So think back to what I just said. So time is speeding up, things are speeding up, everything is speeding up. Okay, so now go back to what I just said about the maturation of the DNA, the two-strand DNA level, and it reaching its point of maturation and now going into that decline. And take the word speeding up. So the speeding up, so in other words, you're not having to get to 60s or 70s or 80s or whatever it is in there to have that speeding up. So it's taking you much, 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 much less time to get there. And once you get there, as you're getting there or getting there, is going even faster. So the short way to say it is that if that integration is not coming on, then you've seen on sci-fi movies where something happens, and there's one episode of the original Star Trek with Kirk, William Shatner, and where something happens and they get old very fast. I mean, like really fast. So in a couple days' times, they go from, I don't know, like 35 to 99 or so, and they just, kind of crumble because that's, So that would be a very good metaphor for something that's actually happening now with beings. And as you're integrating, you actually go through a point where you will notice that you might seem older for a bit. You might feel older, seem older, all those kinds of things, right?
I'm so glad.
And then it's almost like it's pushing out, squeezing out the last of that, and then you'll notice that things are different. Your eyes, the actual eye looks different. Just that's one that people notice, but lots of things are shifting and going in the other direction. And lots of people are noticing that. And some I've heard say, well, I did notice the sense of looking much older and then seeming younger, but it seemed to come and go. And I haven't had the experience with it coming and going. I've had the experience with it coming and changing and continuing on in a more expansive way. But my sense is too, by this particular person had changed the trajectory that they were on. They were focusing and committed and doing things, and then there was something that happened that derailed them, and they never got back, except for occasionally there would be moments. It's almost like if you get a good night's sleep and then you have a week and a half of really no sleep, and then it's kind of like that. So I'm not sure if I was clear enough for that. Probably not, but
no, actually that was actually a spot on, because I can relate to that.
Yes.
Okay. No, that's I'm in that category. That's why I said that before. I recognize that in myself. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because it's like, I'll be going in one direction. I'll be going, I'm aligned. I'm walking confidently towards something, and then something, and it can be something for me as easy as derailing my water intake. Because that's actually a part of taking care of me. That's an important part, especially for me, of taking care of me. And so it can be something as simple as that for me, as derailing. It might not seem that way, but I can see a difference in myself. I feel a difference in myself right away. So I know that's a physical thing, but there's more to it than that for me with water. Because of how important it is for, cleansing the body, detoxing the body. It involves memory. It's all of our cells are made up of it. So you know, that's why I felt what you were saying about walking. It's like walking up to the line and then going, oh, wait a minute. And then wondering why you're doing great, looking young and feeling good. And then, oh, you know what? I'm not doing so hot today. And then wondering why. I know why. That's why I said I recognize that category.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there.
Exactly the same.
So a lot of people, to kind of put it in practical terms, a lot of people are going through, well, think of the aging process, or colds or sickness or those kinds of things, or actual shutting down of organs. And of course, there are going to be more acute things, more exacerbated things, depending upon each being and how they've been walking in the world, how they've been playing in the world, how they've been expanding in the world, or existing in the world, I should say, is the correct way to say it. A lot of the and you know, it's so interesting that we I mean, think about how people discuss this, you know, well, she's getting older. And I mean, it's like, it's this common friggin' thing, like the sky is blue and you get older, and the sky is blue and your hair falls out. The sky is blue and your teeth fall out. The sky is blue and you have, you know, Alzheimer's. The sky is blue, and of course, naturally, that's because I keep going back to that. And, you know, these things don't work. And well, but hang on, that's okay, because we got a whole pharmaceutical company that will help you. And what people don't realize is actually there are all these things that are made up to get, you know, it's the problem reaction solution, right? With that. So I don't want to get too much in that, because this isn't a whole conversation on pharmaceuticals, but suffice to say, we've been taught for these illnesses and these conditions.
Well, see, what I keep hearing, and I've heard so much lately that sounds and feels like this to me. Boxes, those limits. I keep feeling and hearing limitations in everything lately, and I'm like, I'm feeling the edges of my boxes, and I want out of them. So anytime that's all I hear in all of that. Yes, that's what we've been led to believe is the case.
Right.
That, you know, you just get old and you get sick and you die. Well, I have to say again, I know Sheila's on about water again, but as we age, we drink less water. So what do you think happens? Anybody see a raisin? I'm sorry, but it's part of it for me. Knowing that is also part of it. So these are like BS things that we've been sold, these little boxes.
Right. The good news is, depending on your perspective, or the bad news is, or the, whoops, I got to get on it, you know, or what was it, or lights out, baby, you know.
Yeah.
Right?
Shine your lighter, lights out, baby.
That it's a choice.
Yeah.
And if we're in the flow, the pattern, the habit, the trench, the ditch, the tunnel vision of aging and all that kind of stuff, and there's nothing we can do about it, and we're small, okay, spot on. Good on you. Because you will see, you won't have to wait very long. You will see really clear empirical data within your own body and your own systems that will happen more and more rapidly as everything, you know, expands and accelerates, to help you keep showing you the answer, the call. You're putting out a call, you're giving voice to that, and you will have an answer in your body, in your organs, in your systems. And the answer will be, yes, this focus is giving you this. This focus is basically starving you. This is just a simple euphemism, starving you to death from that which is your natural, self-sustainable thing. And that's great. You're doing an amazing job creating this. You're fabulous. And you can switch it if you choose. But this is your choice right now. So it's just your body, your being is giving you feedback that, yeah, you're on this focus, on this trajectory, and you're still there, and you're actually motoring right along. Yep. Pretty swiftly.
Yeah. Everything you're setting out to create.
Yeah.
Good on you.
An instant destruction of stuff.
So I heard a couple of questions right this minute. Well, that's not fair. Well, okay, that's a statement. That's not fair. And why is that happening? Because we're not playing tiddlywinks here, and we're not small. And so this is how everything progresses, and it is a free will. You know, you have the free will capability to choose the smooth ride or the rough ride, to choose the capability of the smooth ride, which gets you the integration, right, which gets you to expansion, which gets you into your absolute kick-ass creator beingness, amazingness, which is cosmically delicious. Or you have the choice of, you know, the limitation in the groove, not looking out, not taking the pillow off your head and going that way. And that gets you something wonderful too. That gets you the completion of this physical body in this particular time and space and at the level that you are. So that when you, through all that choice, when you transition out of this physical body, whatever expansion point that you completed and reached in your integration level, right? When you come back, when you choose to come back into physicality, you will start there. And then you will go through your, wherever you reside that has that level.
Right.
This Gaia will not be at that level because she's already not at that level. So you will come back, and then you will have your expansion through that, and you know, off you go on that next road.
Right. Well,
and just to finish up the that's not fair. So there are lots of, how would I say this? Okay, from a linear perspective, there are lots of built-in helping hands and hitchhiking is allowed to some extent. So, you know, there can be beings who are in their Merkaba and have done the work and the expansion. And if your heart is open and your focus and intent is to go to shift and to go with the expansion, but maybe you kind of got started really late, or you just started on it, or haven't been that clear on it, that you can hitch a conscious, focused and attentive ride with others. But the cartoon that coming in on my video screen right now is should that focus and attention and the consciousness about it and the active participatory nature of, you know, hitchhiking on this, should that waver, or, you know, you're just kicking back, hey, pass the beer, will you, because I'm going for the right. There's a rumble seat, there's an ejector seat, however you want to say this, goes, we love you, out.
Okay, so I heard a whole shit ton of questions behind that little nugget right there. Just so you know, BZ.
Oh,
Not to mention, I also heard something else in that, and I don't even know if that's because that I've heard that before. This is not the first time I've heard that, actually.
What's that?
What you just said about hitching a ride. Somebody else I know has made mention of something of that nature. So this is actually the second time I've heard this information. Although the first time I've heard it from you, BZ. So, but I heard a whole bunch of beings out there going, huh? You want to explain how that one works? Because I'm not gonna
Well,
I'm a little interested in that myself. What are we talking about here? How does that work?
oh, it lets you go back to the path that you were on before. It just pulls off the side of pulls up, although it doesn't have to actually stop. The light body pulls up and says, okay, well, off you go back on your way, because this is not your choice anymore.
No. I meant the whole catching a ride thing, BZ.
Oh, well,
yeah, no, I was on to the catching a ride deal because there was a whole bunch of beings that are out there going, hey, where do I sign up for that gig? Where's
but you see, maybe you didn't. I didn't.
No, I did catch. You can't lay back. I got that intention thing. No. I'm not saying that. I did get that. You can't. There's no kicking back past me, the brewski. No, I get that. but the overall idea of how that even, I don't know. Maybe that's a whole other conversation.
Because it probably is. A lot of this is, I think what I wanted to do is touch on this, because we've got a couple other ones that we're thinking of that kind of move on from this. But this is a seed planting to realize that it's never the case that ship has sailed. It's only that this ship is sailing.
Right.
Does that make sense? And and if we were using the euphemism of that ship, well, you always have other, vessels within that to get on it, but you determine it. And if, to be incredibly linear here, if just kicking back with the brewskis in the Barca Lounger and, someone's going to send me a memo and a taxi when everything's happened, that's absolutely delicious for you, because that's your choice. And you will see and experience how things unfold for you for that choice.
Okay, I guess maybe I got a little confused because, and maybe that is a different conversation altogether.
You mean the having people, in other words,
being able to catch a ride. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, have you ever heard? I'm not sure of all this, the logistics about, but there have been pictures where a smaller bird will nest in the feathers of a bigger bird and migrate. Doesn't happen very often, but so just as we have the ability to be translators and transmitters and receivers, right? We also have the ability, if we're kind of a linear way maybe to describe it, if we're clear and solid, so in that space and from our own choosing, wish to like be the wind beneath others' wings, or to provide some coattails, or to provide some drafting, like if someone's riding their bike behind this big thing, they're drafting it, then we can do that.
Thank you. That's that's a much better.
Yes. Well, I saw it this way because Sheila and I have had this conversation already.
Thank you. So yes, that is the other place I heard this, by the way. So thank you for stepping up with that.
Out for a minute.
Thanks for stepping up.
Yeah, so for me, I see it this way too. Okay, so I saw a few things when I was sussing the energetics of this out that you're describing, DZ. And I saw it as the love train is the little thing that popped in when I was working through it in my sleep. You know, I woke up to the love train and the swirling. Okay, so I've seen it as this, that there's a you could, if you are doing the work and you're really, you know, able to hold a field for yourself, if you're consciously working it, you can actually hold the field, period. Yeah, like you were saying, so for others. But it's not like you said, you know, eating bonbons and watching soap operas. Okay, so I see this video. I saw this video on Facebook, and I don't know why I was fascinated by it, but I was. And I got kind of sucked in, and I watched for quite a while. And then that video came up to me as, oh, okay, this is perfect because it's describing this for me. So what it was and it was a family event, and I forget what it was called, but so family members were participating together, and one would ride a horse and one would stand on a barrel. And the horse rider would come along and whip kind of very seriously close to, you know, whip around this barrel. And the family member atop the barrel's job was to grab on and leap on, okay, just because they weren't stopping for you. You just had to mid-stride, right, hop on. And I was mesmerized by how this is going. Like, some people made it look like it was so easy, you know. The horse comes galloping on, galloping sort of rather close. And I forget even what I don't even know what they were holding on to. I think the rider, right? And they would have to loop a leg around and hop in and then be behind them and go riding back to where they came from. Well, some of them were hilarious. The people trying. And I saw that metaphor as sort of that train. You can't, okay, so I'm mixing metaphors now, but if you don't actively engage in this horse that's galloping by, right, and really want to get on, it's not going to happen. And for some, unfortunately, it was funny what happened to them as they bounced around and went swinging. Anyway, and I should not laugh, but it was really fun. You know, nobody really got hurt or anything, and it was a grand adventure. But so really, that's kind of, I thought of that, and then I thought of the train analogy too. So you know, like maybe some could be a train, and because they're just that cohesive that anybody who had a ticket to ride, meaning they knew a train was coming and they had the timing right and they were standing on the platform when the train arrived, well, yeah, then I guess they could hop on to the love train as it went, you know, through
Gotcha. Well, yeah, you've said that before, that your frequency is your ticket to ride, you know.
Yeah, and your desire to do the work, like BZ was saying, and so maybe you just found out about it, and so you're not as far along as somebody who's been thinking about it for 20 years. So,
oh yeah, like you and me, like you've been doing it for a long time, and
Yeah.
Well, yeah. A couple things I would say to your metaphors there.
Come on, help me.
Well, unlike, sometimes in a pickup race, the pickup E will yank the pickuper off the horse. That doesn't happen.
Well, and I could see where that could be a real thing,
Right, but it's designed not to work that way because
okay. Yeah,
there would be an eject button prior to that happening.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Well, she did say that the frequency is your ticket to ride first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was skill level and
the genuine open-heartedness and intention,
yes.
And yeah, that really is kind of a whole other conversation. I mean, right here, I think just as a seed point to play with this is that the whole shifting, changing, expansion has been kicked up many, 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 many notches. And the feedback of that has kept up with that kicking up notches. And remember, I've talked many times about kind of the chatter, of like a plane coming in, the discordance of the energies and the shearing force within your own body is going to be at exponential increasing factors, incredibly noticeable, feelable, experienceable right now.
So in other words, what I'm hearing you say, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, is that if you're not doing the work and you've made the choice not to integrate, but to a certain point or whatever, expect that that discordance, that shearing effect is going to get worse. As what is now, what I feel like for myself, what I heard you say too, is that which is sustaining us, that which is actually feeding us, is part and parcel coming through the integration of all of those things of soul energy, because it is that soul energy, that light that's coming in that actually sustains and feeds us.
Yes.
And without that work, everything else is starting to fail. The body will begin to fail, because that is, yes, there's food, and, yes, to some degree we've used that for our physical, but that is not what sustains this body. There's life force. That life force is source. That life force is soul. That is what sustains this body. At least that's what I know from myself.
And because, and to make it either simpler or to add on to that, the bodies are all changing, because in order for the body to stay on this planet and not leap off, because it's got to leap off, because it can't, like a hot potato, can't, don't have the energy, don't have the oxygen, the atmospheric ratio, if you want to look at it that way. If you went to another planet, right, and the atmospheric mix is different, and you're used to this planet, which is a certain ratio of oxygen and carbon and all that kind of thing, right? Well, you have actually gone to another planet, basically, because the planet has shifted and changes the energy frequency. And so what you were born into the planet with in that body is going through changes. You are hampering those changes. You are negating those changes. You are interfering with those changes. You are blocking those changes. You are derailing those changes if you're not flowing with the choice of expansion, opening the heart, and letting all of those other things fall away that are not now in alignment with this new atmosphere. Right. So no one is this is very clear. No one, sans you, is doing this to you but you, by your choice. And nobody's missing anything. Nope. This is not happening in a vacuum. And when you go to sleep at night, you're having conversations directly with Source about this, with your team, with your higher self, with your soul, all of that. It's happening all the time. As we've had conversations about, there is communication all the time. Your best friend wants to have this conversation, and there's a lot of listening, brushing it off happening. And now we've just, this is really a good thing. This is not a doom and gloom thing. This is not a holy Jesus shit kind of a thing. This is an amazing thing. This is the transformation. This is and evolution is not at all the right word, because it's a linear term, and it's been so wrongly defined because it's been so manipulated. Anyways, that's a whole other conversation. But anyway,
no, you're right. But I feel what you're saying there.
So if I was to use the word, which is wholly inaccurate and really a bastardized term, but the term evolution, this is the evolution of all beings in all of Source's multiverses, in all densities, dimensions, physicalities, non-physicalities, and energetic frequency neighborhoods. The whole internet.
I think that's why the excitement is so high.
So this is a really, 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 poor words, magnificent, spectacular, just, it's off the charts.
Yeah, I know.
It's orgasmically, cosmically, deliciously yum.
Yes.
And there is no wrong choice.
No.
There's absolutely no wrong choice.
No, but I will tell you this. I am not going to... You're right. There is no wrong choice. And I'm not going to be unhappy or sad for anyone making their specific choice. Right. And I'm not going to feel bad for me making mine. And I've stepped into mine wholeheartedly. And I'm enjoying the hell out of mine.
Right. Yeah, and the reason I wanted to make sure to kind of put a footnote or accent aigu on that there's no wrong choice, because because there are people who are doing the work, and they'll realize this, they'll feel this, they'll have confirmation within their own beings, because you're the expert. So that's where you look for the confirmation. Right. So you'll have that confirmation. You can have those conversations. You can feel into this more, where a lot of the shearing force and the rough ride comes in when someone who is on the expansion, but they look over here to someone that they know, someone that they love, someone that's a family member. Could be all combination thereof, right? Yeah. And they see that, and they realize that dragging them over and trying to sell them something is not your job. It's not your responsibility, and you're completely interfering. And that is also a really, really crystal clear sign that your heart has closed, that you are in fear mode and small mode, and you just took your place off this track over there.
Well, I have a question for you about that. And it's an honest question. And it's, so can you feel sad about the choices that beings in your life are making?
I would say,
or is that a sign of your heart?
I would say honor whatever.
Well, I just wonder if, oh, good.
Honor whatever you're
because
feeling.
I honor those choices. Yeah.
Honor
I
what
honor the
you're feeling.
choices. I really do.
We got a delay here.
Yes.
honor
Oh.
your what you're feeling and integrate what you're feeling. Come back to 0 point on it and keep going.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. Well, that is what I've done. I wouldn't have used those words, but that's, yeah, okay. That's what I've done. Yeah. That's, oh, cool. Thank you for that. Yay.
And remember, you know, it's not like all of a sudden they've dematerialized into this finite, small being that, you know, is not an eternal kick-ass creator being anymore. It's not at all the case.
No, I get that.
And, you know, they may not want to go through all this process in this body. They may want to have it done in such a way that they're choosing that to leave this body and make that stage. And now that's going to be, they may, well, I was going to say they may choose, but they've got to remember that one of the things that, because it's all about energy and energy frequency levels that you're at, right? So when you wherever you are and you depart this body, then you come back at that same level. So if you're in fourth density in your vibration, your frequency, and you're figuring out, and you're really maybe you have a body that's has a lot of physical ailments, or a mental capacity has a lot of things, you know, and you're younger, or maybe you're older. So you, in other words, the other thing is that this is because you're not small, and you're always connected to your soul, and you're always connected with source. There are these conversations going on all the time in great detail.
Well, and you know what just came in for me? What you were just saying there is that what just came in for me is that in a lot of these cases, and maybe even in my own case where I was just thinking of, there could be soul contracts that have been made where the choice was pre-made, and it's serving out a soul contract with another being to, you know, oh yeah, I agree to do this and go this far, and then you know, when it's time, I'll just jump in the next time or whatever. Who knows? I don't know why that came in like that. Who knows? There's all myriad of possibilities and different reasons as to why choices and things like that have been made. And again, so I just keep coming back now. This is always for myself. Who am I to stand in the way of anybody else's choice? Because I sure as shit don't want somebody standing in the way of mine.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
You know, yeah. Wow.
But I did feel it was important to play with this a bit, because you can look, you're going to see evidence of this all over the place. And you can look back around the time of 2011, kind of halfway, about this time of the year, and then 2012, where there were a lot of information coming through from a whole myriad of sources, from myriad of aspects and all that, about, lots of people leaving the planet. I mean, huge swaths of people leaving the planet.
Well, there's a lot of other things that, you know, puzzle piece collector wise, as far as I'm concerned, that I didn't get a chance to do any kind of recording on this week. But along with these eclipses, there's been an awful lot of, you know, a lot of folks tend to look at just this set of eclipses. But there are eclipses that these eclipses actually relate back to. And so some of the reading that I've done recently, you know, I was going back and looking at where they were, you know, these eclipses may be tied to in your specific chart. And, you know, for my specific chart, I was to look back at, I think it was 2000, in July of 2000. And I was at the very beginning of what ended up being, you know, a round of 15 surgeries. But I was taking on a new life, so to speak. You know, this was part of that losing all that weight that I did and everything. And so, you know, I'm just saying that there's a lot about not just ending things, but also beginning new things that are tied to these eclipses.
Absolutely.
And
none of it's really an ending. It may be a completion of one phase, but
right.
I don't hold it as an ending. I hold it as completions. And a lot of times too, you'll see just what you're talking about, where what has come before in various eclipses and points as a whole for all of the energetic, but then also for energetics that and beings that are, you know, in certain alignments with that, is actually a capping of you would say, accent group keeps coming to mind, but you would say there's an enhancement to the other thing. So in other words, things that happen in the different eclipses that align certain things, that had certain flows, that gave certain expansions and trajectories, all that kind of stuff. And then as they've moved through, now with this big, because this has put us in such a region, in such a frequency, in such a big, ginormous quantum jump, that it then has a kind of, you could say, a cascading effect, because there is no such thing as, you know, the past, because it's all now. So it has a cascade. You could kind of make a movement where it has a cascading effect, quote unquote, back through all of those things, but actually you're in your toroidal quantum field, so it has a cascading effect and repopulates all of that to the next level of that.
Right. Yeah, I liked your word of completion, or culmination is also another good one for that. And you know, and it you know, it denotes cycles as well for me anyway. So wow, this was a really good one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, do either one of you have anything you'd like to add to this one? No? All right. Well.
Just keep the heart open, and fear is not any place it needs to be going to.
Oh yeah, good gravy. Gracious. Leave that stuff behind. For sure. All right. Well, we'll have all of the usual things in all of the usual places. And until next time, mwah.
Much love.
Awesome.